Let's turn now to Capitol Hill. And joining me live is Alabama Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville. Senator, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. And let's start with this big news of the day first. Of course, Speaker McCarthy said that he's directing the House to launch an impeachment inquiry into President Biden. I want to go back to what you told Axios last week. You said you were all for the investigation, but you don't think there's enough time before the election to get the trial done. You also said, and I quote, "I'll do it, but like I told them when they went after Trump, you better have an ironclad case." Now, there's some questions about whether or not there really is evidence linking the president himself to his son's business dealings and whether or not any of that is actually illegal. Do you think that House Republicans have an ironclad case right now?
Well, what I've heard, there's a lot of fire and there's a lot of smoke, but we don't know whether there's any truth to it. And so they need probably continue their investigation. I'm not for impeachment, unless it is ironclad, as I said about President Trump. If you're going to come after a former president or a president, let's don't waste time. Let's know the truth. Let's be able to bring it out. Let the American people know. We got enough problems up here right now without going through an impeachment process. But they'll do the right thing. Hopefully, we just find out what's going on and the American people get the truth.
Well, to that end, do you think that it's necessary for the Speaker to actually hold a vote on the House floor to launch an inquiry like this?
Well, that's up to them. I don't know much about that in terms of where they're at. I'm sure if he's going to do it, he's going to have the votes. You don't bring a vote to the floor unless you're pretty sure that you can get the amount of votes that you need. I know they wouldn't make it to anywhere over here in the Senate. They probably wouldn't even let it make it to the floor. But again, this is all up to the House. We got enough problems going on right now, but there is a lot of smoke right now with what's going on with the president.
So what you're saying, Senator, is that you think that there isn't enough evidence right now to convict the president, which would require, a majority threshold, a supermajority threshold, I should say. You don't think there's the votes for that in the Senate right now?
Well, no, we couldn't get the votes in the Senate, but of course they know a lot more about it than we do in the House because they've been doing all these inquiries. But let's just wait and see what happens. Again, they hopefully they know what they're doing, but we need the truth. American people need to know the truth. Well,
you said you are concerned. You said there's fire there. And if doing business off your father's name while he's in the White House is an impeachable offense, didn't Republicans try that move to impeach Trump and his family? Isn't that along the same lines?
Yeah, and as I said, it wasn't ironclad. They didn't have anything really substantial. And you'll have to ask the House if they have anything substantial here. I've read some of the evidence, some of the so-called evidence, but it has to be brought out. It has to be brought out in a trial situation if it comes to the Senate. I'm sure everybody's read the information in the House. That's going to be up to them first. Let's see what they want to do. If they want to send it over here, that'll be fine.
Okay.
But Senator Schumer's not going to let it come to the floor over here.
Okay. So Senator, let's move on now to the issue that you are certainly at the center of, and that's the holds that you have on military nominees and promotions over the Pentagon's policy of funding travel for service members who want to travel to receive abortion care. I want to play for you what the top Republican on the House Foreign Affairs Committee said about that over the weekend. Take a listen.
I think that is a national security problem and a national security issue, and I really wish you would reconsider this because we're working this issue out in the National Defense Authorization. To hold up the top brass from being promoted and lower brass, I think, is paralyzing our Department of Defense.
You've said in the past that you don't think it's a national security issue. This is the Republican conservative chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Doesn't he know what he's talking about on issues like this?
Well, he's got his facts wrong, and he doesn't know the rules of the Senate. We could do all the top brass in probably less than 2 weeks. I'm not holding up all the nominations. I'm just holding up a group at a time. We could do one this afternoon in 2 hours, but Schumer won't bring it to the floor. So they're throwing all the darts at me, and that's fine. I don't care. But people just need to know the process here. The process is they cannot bring them up at one time and have them all confirmed at one time, but they can bring them up one at a time. It takes about 2 hours to do each one. We should be doing them, but they're just trying to play games on the left.
All right, well, as you say that, I talked to Senator Schumer today about your desire to put nominees on the floor one by one, and this is what he said. His point to you has been just bring these nominations to the floor one by one. Is that practical?
He created the problem. Don't put it on us. He's got to solve it. Everyone knows he's created the problem. For the good of America's security, he ought to back off.
He's telling you to back off. Also, your leader, Mitch McConnell, has expressed concern about the holds. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I didn't create the problem. The problem was created from the White House and Pentagon. You know, when they sent a memo over and changed a policy that was voted on in 1984 by the Democrats and Joe Biden himself. So if we're going to do this and change it, just send it over here and we'll vote on it. I mean, that's what I'm asking. We do not need to turn into a third world country and start delegating laws from the White House and the Pentagon. That's what most of this is about. Now, obviously, it's about abortion. It's about paying taxpayers money for abortion, which is illegal. We don't want to do that. But it's also about ruling from the White House, and we don't need to start doing that.
To be clear, it's not about paying for abortion. It's about paying for travel to states, in states where abortion has been currently illegal. So those are two different things. But I want to get back to this point, you know, in terms of the timing of all of this. And it would be an inordinate amount of time on the Senate floor in order to get all these nominations through, especially because they continue to pile up. You're on the verge of the government running out of money. That's going to happen in less than 3 weeks. You're the only senator right now that doesn't believe these nominations and promotions should go through. Aren't you slowing down all the other business of government, especially during a time where there's the possibility of a government shutdown?
No. Again, we could do these later on in the night. I know the importance of a government shutdown. We don't need to do that. I'm not for that. I think we'll do a CR. But the bottom line is this is a two-way street. Senator Schumer can do his job and let me do my job. But all the blame for some reason is going on me. We've got plenty of people doing the jobs right now in the military. There's no job unfilled. If they want to move up some of these higher echelon generals, I'm fine with that. Let's bring them to the floor and confirm them. I'll probably vote for all of them.
Okay, but I do want to press you on that because you did not seem to understand yesterday the way that these promotions work. You were caught off the Senate floor yesterday by my colleagues, and you were under the impression that Chairman Milley could just stay in his position, that was something he could do indefinitely. But that's not necessarily how the process works. A lot of these generals can't just stay in these positions indefinitely. They need Senate confirmation, or the people that are replacing them need that confirmation. Does that take into account at all your calculation as it relates to this, that many of these positions, even potentially the Joint Chiefs chairman, could be vacant for some time because of this?
Well, the Joint Chiefs are like that. I was mistaken. You're exactly right. I got my facts wrong. I admit that. But Admiral Grady, who's the vice chief, will move up. He's well qualified. I've read his qualifications. I went back and looked at everything he's done. He's well qualified, and he'll move up and handle it until we have somebody confirmed. Maybe he should do it. But at the end of the day, I'm not holding up readiness. I'm not holding up these nominations. Just bring General C.Q. Brown to the floor, who they want to be the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. He'll be nominated within 2 hours, and he will be confirmed. They do not want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then, Senator, before you go, I do want to get your take on the situation with Senator Mitch McConnell. He's had 2 episodes where he is frozen during press conferences. His health seems to be a growing concern. What is your confidence in his ability to continue to lead the Republican caucus?
Yeah, I talked to him today. He's doing fine. He just, it is what it is. He fell. He hit his head. I've been around kids all my life with a concussion. It takes a while to get over them. It was a hard hit for him when he fell, hit his head on a very hard floor. He was in rehab for a while. Unfortunately, he's had 2 of those freezing moments that people have seen on television. He knows that he's got to get better. He will use the right, his right message to us and to the people across the country if he can. If he can't do it right now, he looks pretty good. I talked to him today, good shape, talked a lot, upbeat. But again, he knows that we don't need to have many more of these freezing situations to where people have doubt. Doubt is the biggest fear up here of people doing their job.
Okay. Well, Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville still at the center of this controversy with military promotions. We're going to have a lot more to talk with you about in the coming weeks. We so appreciate you being on with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.